Hello, beautiful people, and how are you all doing today? It is Parenting Essential time, and Oye is here. Let me know where you're joining me from. Joining, and let's use this few minutes effectively as I'll be talking about strategies for successful or effective parenting. And I'll be looking in direction of not repeating your parenting errors. So thank you for joining me. And if you're seeing my face for the very first time today, my name is Oye Layo. You can call me Oye for short. And I am your parenting coach and your family life practitioner. So thank you for joining me and let me know where you are joining me from. Thank you. If you are there, you can hear me. Just say LOI, and I'll be glad to see you. I'll be glad to see you. Let me know where you're joining me from. All right, let's get started. This is the Parenting Essentials and is the home of key strategies to parenting. You are welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. If you don't mind, you can help us share. And as you join, let's know where you're joining from. All right. Okay, today I'll be talking about, have you ever wondered? Let me start on this note. I know we can't call this year a new year anymore, but we can still say it's a new year. But there's some things or maybe many things that you said last year in your parenting journey. You said to yourself, I'm not going to repeat the same this year. I'm not going to do this year, all these resolutions and many things that you said to yourself. So, how is it going this year? How is the parenting journey going this year? Everything you said to yourself, every statement you laid down, how is it going? Are you following through? I don't need your answer, just answer that to yourself. And have you ever wondered why you often say that I don't want to be like my parent? I don't want to be like my mom. I really don't want to be like my dad. But you just discovered that you kept doing that thing that you said you will not do. You kept maybe your reactions or your behavior. I mean, in regarding parenting, in your parenting journey, you kept just doing what that was not the intention. Has that ever happened to you before? I don't want to be like my mom. I am just surprised I'm ending up to be like my mom, and that's not the plan. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to treat my children this way. This is my intention on parenting. But you realize that you're doing the same thing that you said you don't want to do. Have you ever wondered why this is happening? Why is it always happening? I said I'm not going to yell, but you are going to realize after you have yelled. And that is the aspect we said parenting is a learned skill, because you can actually learn not to yell, but that is not really where I'm going to today. So we're talking about strategies to successful or effective parenting regarding you not repeating your parent parenting error. There are quite a lot of parental errors. Yes. And we also can see from the past parent, from our parenting styles, and it is almost impossible for us not to repeat the same error if we are not intentional about learning the skills that is required. That is the new skills. So imagine if you are just saying that I don't want to be this, and you're not ready to learn because you have learned something. Children learn by seeing. Even when we were a child, or when you were a child and you're seeing all those things that you are saying you're not going to do today, your subconscious sense, you've learned it, it's been recorded. So it takes another skill for you to, determination for you to delete these things and to put in the right thing. Imagine you just saying, I want to be a doctor. All you're saying is, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. You said it this year, next year, 5 years time, you're still saying the same thing. But you just wake up, you woke up one day and say, why am I not a doctor? It takes you to go to medical school, take the form, apply, learn, do the exam, pass, and become a doctor. But when it comes to parenting, I don't know where this idea is coming from that we feel, it's just imbued. You just have to, I will just learn it. I'll take one step at a time. I will just get there. And that might be one of the reasons why you're finding yourself saying the same thing of, I don't want to do it again, but yet I'm doing it. And that is why I'm going to be talking about this today. If you don't want to continue to struggle in that particular thing, so I'll just share a few strategies today in the next few minutes, and we're going to get out of here. So once again, thank you for joining me. And if you're there, you can hear me, you can see me clearly. Kindly drop where you're joining from, and I'll be glad to read that. Let me know I'm audible. Let me know you can hear me, and I'll be so glad you did. So thank you for joining me anywhere you're joining from, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for joining. All right. So you might not even like what you've seen or what you experienced with your parent, but just saying, I don't want to be, or I don't want to act the same. It might even be your parent marital life. Sometimes they know, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to do this to my wife. I'm not going to do this to my husband. But beyond words, there are steps to take. There are procedures to follow. There are skills to learn. There are things to unlearn and relearn. Because those words will not help you. Just like I was just giving an example about being a medical doctor, or you want to be a medical doctor. Saying I'll be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer is never going to make you to be that profession until you go to the school to learn and you become it. Hence, you keep saying and saying it forever. Parenting, I say again, is a learned skill. So, I want you to know that effective parenting is not about perfection. I'm not talking about, we are perfect, some people are perfect, there's no error. No, we learn from our mistakes and we just continue. We do something, I shouldn't have done that. Ability to identify it and to move on, learning through the process is what we're talking about. There is nothing like perfection in what I'm stating tonight. I'm talking about parenting. It's not about perfection, but about intentionality, about having a clear vision, about having understanding what you are into. That is what we're talking about. So you have to learn from past experiences. Learn, especially you're talking about your parent mistakes, their errors. So we have to learn from it, not just saying I will not do it. What lessons have you learned? And that is, I'll be sharing that shortly. And that can actually shape how you nurture and guide your children. The things that you have learned from your parenting errors or mistakes can nurture, can make errors, can make victory on how you're going to guide your own children or how you're going to raise them. And that must be, we have to have full understanding of that. So when we are working on ourselves, we have to know that there is need to work on ourselves. So for you not to repeat what you don't want, there is need for you to avoid, I know it, I will just learn it. You have to know that I need to learn it. I need to learn it. So I'm just going to be giving some practical steps tonight. What you can do, especially if you find yourself in this class that I'm talking to tonight, you're a parent, maybe even a caregiver, but you don't just know why you get to that state of, how did I get to this point? I'll quickly share some few steps that is going to help you a lot. So, but one thing that you have to know as we start, which I will be talking more about later, is self-awareness. Now you're a parent, or you want to be a parent. Is all you know is about what you saw your parent do that you don't like? What else do you know about parenting? Do you know yourself as you become a parent or as you're already a parent? Are you even aware of who you are? Self-awareness is very important. You have to be learning and be intentional in this. So the one thing that you have to do is to reflect on your childhood experience. You yelled this time, for example. Or you show a kind of nonchalant attitude to your child. I understand why you did that. You came back tired. You came back genuinely tired from office and your child has been waiting to talk to you. Maybe they have an assignment or something. As you're stepping in, The child has not even said, welcome, mommy, or welcome, daddy. The first thing they said, mommy, can you help me with this assignment? And naturally, that pressed the button. And said, like, what do you mean? Can't you see I'm tired? I know you're tired, but that was out of character. And you have said to yourself, I will not always be like this. But you kept realizing, no, I can't control my emotions and things like that. I can't actually do it by myself. So number one thing is, first, reflect on your childhood experience. Let me go back to that. How was it? How was my relationship with my parent as a child? Did I actually enjoy it? Do I feel it was okay? Just ask yourself questions. Did I even see these things that I'm doing right now with my mom or my dad? Just reflect on it. Where did I even get this from? Is it from neighbors? Where? Community? Where? You start reflecting on your childhood experience. That is going to help you to identify the specific parenting mistake that you witnessed or experienced. Because any parental mistake that anyone might have experienced as a child, you have the tendencies of doing the same. It can occur, it can happen again. So, but when you have a reflection on your childhood experience, that is going to help you to start identifying and underlining, oh, this might be coming from this. This might be coming from, it start identifying where that might be coming from, the kind of experience you had and what you witnessed. Then after you have identified all these things, then you begin to write them down. You just be intentional. Yeah, now I know. No, now pick a journal, write it down, write them down. You will not just write them down. You now begin to write how those actions make you feel or how they actually affected you. Maybe as a child, you were always being beaten by your parent anytime you do anything wrong. You were bittered. You were sad. You couldn't share anything, any of this to anyone as a child. You couldn't tell your parent, that, mommy, I'm not happy the way you're beating me, because, at a point, I believe it's better now that children were not being heard, only being seen. So you're going to write that down and write it how that affected you. And you said to yourself, you know what? I am not going to lay my hands on my children. Never, because of your bitter experience. But before you know it, any little trigger, all you do is to bring out stick and beat your children. But sincerely say, I don't want to do it, but you find yourself doing it. So let's leave that now. Now you identify it. Now begin to write it down. Now write it down to yourself, how this affected you. I was always sad, and this has really affected. Whatever you think, you write them down. How this experience has affected you. So you begin to reflect on what you wish you had, done differently. I beat my children every time, and this always make me sad, because I can as well talk to them calmly for them to hear. You don't just think in your head. You write it out. In this journey called parenting, you cannot journey successfully without a journal. So you're going to start writing them down, like you're talking to you now. When we say do self-reflection, is tough. But this one, you're going to do it that you know that you did it. So you're going to just write what I wish I didn't. You just write all those things. And what you think I would have done differently. I yelled the other time. What if I just said, can I talk to you later? You write it down there. You see it yourself. That is the beginning of the solution. But if you say, no, do I even need to write? Oh, I know it's in my head. This is not a journey of it in my head. You have to hold yourself accountable. This is holding yourself. You have to be your self-accountability partner in this case. So number 2 thing that you have to do is to acknowledge your trigger. You have to acknowledge it. You have to identify it and acknowledge it. Acknowledge the trigger, identify the trigger, then you acknowledge it. So you start paying attention to those moments that you were out of character. You start paying detailed attention to those moments that you just reacted or overreacted. And you start paying attention to where it's so similar to what your mom used to do to you. You just shouted. Then I shouted. This is exactly how my mom would have shouted on me, or how my mom used to shout on me. You begin to note them down. You begin to acknowledge them. Then what do you do next? You ask yourself. You genuinely ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? Why am I reacting this way? These are genuine moments that you have to ask yourself genuine question. Why am I reacting this way? Then you just ask yourself, is this truly how I want to respond? Is this who I want to be? Is this what I actually want? Why? Why am I reacting like this? So after that, after you start, ability, if you can ask yourself this question and you can wait to hear yourself, it means the journey has started. Then you start to develop a calming techniques. For you, what is going to calm you down might be a walk away. It might be a cup of hot drink. It might be a pot of cold drink. It can be maybe you just want to just take a deep breath and just relax. Some for you, your calming techniques might be not responding immediately, responding within yourself before you actually talk to the child. Because if you actually don't want to yell at your child, and you can have control over yourself, over your emotions, you can control your response, you can respond to yourself before you voice it out, it's going to help you a lot. You begin to manage your own trigger that way. If you are able to do these things, this is going to help you to manage your trigger. Before you know it, all you do is bass, you eat your child. Another thing is just, you can't just, even though that's not what you actually want, but some people think that's the right way. I cannot come and kill myself. I'm not talking to those people tonight. I'm not talking to the class of people. I cannot come and kill myself. I didn't kill my mother. My children cannot kill me. I'm not talking to you. Thank you. But I'm talking to those people specifically. You actually do not want to do that, but somehow you find yourself doing it, and you've tried your best, but you don't know how you can go about it. Those are the people I'm talking to tonight. So you learn how your techniques is going to be based on you. I can't tell you one technique. So you have to try everything and see what works for you. And once you find that, you stick to that. So then the next thing you're going to do after you are able to, now you're learning how to have kind of calmness, how to take control of the situation. You now go and check again. Do I know what my parenting values are? Or do you even have at all? In this journey, co-parenting, do I know what I'm into? Do I know what values I uphold? So you have to begin to check. Can I define my own parenting styles? I'm not talking about you copying this one. You see this one, you copy it. Your parenting is your parenting. It's good to learn from people, but you cannot take everybody's parenting styles. If you continue to be everybody, you will end up being nobody. So you have to know what race you are running. It's your race at the end of the day. It's good to emulate good things, but they know where they are going to. And I think I cited this example in one of my teachings before in the past. You see somebody driving nicely with a good car, and that person is maybe, for example, the person is driving to Dubai. You see another person with a good car driving nicely. Another person is driving to Abu Dhabi. So you are just following the two because the road is still similar. You're following them. You follow it at a point. One is going to go left. Another one is going to go right. So what are you going to do? You're going to be in a confused state and you are going to be nowhere. So it's good to copy good things, but you have to know what you are doing. You have to know what journey you are embarking on. So after that, you're going to write down the kind of parent you want to be. Now that you know how to calm yourself, you can hold your emotions, you can control your anger, you don't have to shout or yell or spank them. Now that you have already know that, okay, I need to have a defined value in my parenting journey. I'm not talking about your family value in this case. I'm not talking about business values. I'm talking about your personal parenting values. So the next thing is to write down the kind of parent you want to be. What kind of parent do I want to be? You begin to check the type of parent and kind of parent. Which one exactly do I want to be? Am I going to be a supportive parent and be patient parent? Whatever it is. Or a nagging parent. It's totally up to you, but know the kind of parent you want to be. It is very important. You have to know. Am I going to be, am I going to be a parent that shows empathy? I'm going to be pathetic. Am I going to be a respectful parent? Whatever you choose to be at the end of the day, note that your children are going to be the same, except they learn to struggle to be out of it. So choose wisely, and I trust you to choose wisely. If you are a respectful parent, your children will naturally be respectful. So these are things that you have to do. So you have to set clear parenting goals and reflect on these values. What are my goals? What am I going to achieve? These goals can be long-term goals, can be short-term goals, depending on what you want to do per time. And make sure that your goals are realistic. I said something similar a few weeks ago, and I'm not teaching goals today, but set a goal. This is what I'm working on. This is parenting goal. I want to work on this relationship with my children, and this is how I want to achieve it. Be specific about it. So then you go on to educate yourself on, the parenting style you need, the techniques you need. Educate yourself. This can be the process of maybe getting the right books to read. It can be the process of you enrolling yourself in parental classes, webinars, attending webinars, seminars. But it's very important for you to learn. It's very important for you to educate yourself. You read books, take courses. It's very important. Seek for mentorship where necessary. Parenting is something that you have to invest in. You have to be determined to invest in your parenting journey. Learn from experienced people. Don't say every false child. There are so many wrong statements that have been so good that everybody believes it's okay to say it because everybody's saying it. The fact that everybody's saying that statement does not mean it's right. One of such statements is when they say first child is always an experiment. The second one, you're going to learn from it. Why do you have to choose a whole human being to be an experiment where there is a place and people and courses and books that you can read to learn? Why do you want to do a trial and error with a child, a life, a destiny? Think about it. I'm just asking you a very genuine question. Think about it. These are questions. You hear people say, there's nothing you can do about it. This is the next one that you do right. But you can do the first one right. Why not choose to do it right? At the end of the day, it's your choice. But I say again, I trust you to make the right choice. So that is very important. So you learn about maybe whatever you want to, the type of parenting you're doing. So in general, I'll just say positive parenting. Are you full of vision in your parenting? So you learn more about visionary parenting, whatever it is. Gentle parenting. How do I want to approach it? Whatever you have, the kind of style that you're going with. Then you start to learn about how do I achieve these things. Another thing you do next is to practice self-awareness daily. That is on a daily basis. Practice self-awareness. You regularly reflect on your actions. What did I just do? I was out of line. You practice a lot of self-awareness, your actions, your words as a parent. You be intentional. You don't just say anything anyhow. You begin to monitor yourself like a monitoring spirit. But if you're not intentional, do you know it's very difficult for you to monitor yourself? If you're not so intentional, you're like, is this word difficult? It's not so hard. Why do I need to be doing all this? So you have to really be intentional for you to be able to tell yourself the truth. When you get to the state of being able to tell yourself the truth, you're walking in freedom. So you have to know that. And, ask for feedback from trusted family members. And, I also ask for feedback from my children, and you can also ask for feedback from your children. Their view on your parenting. Do you have confidence enough to even ask your children how your parenting styles is affecting them both either positively or negatively? So you have to get to the point of being comfortable to ask for feedbacks, maybe from your friends that that they actually know what they're also doing in parenting, and those who can hold you accountable. It is very important. You are not going to be down because of what somebody said. You're just going to learn from it. You're going to grow to the state that you're not picking any negative sound, because whatever you hear is just a mere data until you give the meaning to it. So the meaning you're going to give to the feedback is, these are the things that I need to improve on. Those will be the meaning you are giving to the data you're going to be receiving from those feedback. Another very important thing that you have to take the step is you have to develop, you have to become an emotionally intelligent parent. That is like a freedom to a successful journey. And these things doesn't just come. You have to do something to get them. So you have to develop it. You have to be emotionally intelligent. You have to work on your understanding, how you manage situation, how you manage even your children. A lot of siblings rivalry that is happening today or that's happened in the past, if you check, the root cause is from the parent. Because of lack of emotional intelligence. A lot of our parents, and people are still doing that. You're already endangering your children for the future. You are so going to be emotionally intelligent, yes, for this successful journey, but you need to be intentional in learning it. So it's very important. So you learn how to manage your emotions, you teach, and you have to model emotional regulation to your children. I do ask myself every time, and I've said this many times, I'm not going to share it again. If I see something that I don't want to see in the life of my children, I leave them first. I quickly do a self-reflection. Because sometimes we're doing something and we don't even realize it. The point of telling ourselves the truth is, I think, is the bigger step. Especially as adults. We feel, why should we? You just want to live in denial. If I see my children doing something, I just quickly check myself. First, if I can fix me, I can fix them. So you begin to check your children's emotional regulation also, because that might tell a lot about you. That might really tell a lot about you. So these are the steps that is going to I'm giving you strategies tonight. And in case you're just joining me, tonight I'm just on a very calm note. I'm sharing strategies in which you can have a successful or effective parenting, on how you will not repeat your parenting errors. I mean your own parent. And I started on a note of maybe you're doing something and you don't want to do it, and you kept doing the same thing. So I'm sharing the strategies that you can use step by step. So you can go back if you're just joining and watch the few ones I've shared. So far, I've shared 6 steps that you can take, and I'll share a few more, and we're going to call it a day. Another very important thing for you not to repeat your parenting error is to be open to healing. Trauma is real. But a lot of people were traumatized without even knowing that this is trauma. And some were totally aware that this was actually trauma, but they refused to accept and admit. And these things is going to cause the healing to be so impossible. So one of the greatest steps for you not to repeat your parenting error is to be open to healing. Maybe you feel humiliated as a child. You were traumatized. Maybe you remember that day that you didn't actually do that thing, but nobody could listen. They were looking for that thing. A candy was missing. There was a meat in the bowl that was missing. And you said you did not take it. And truly you did not take it. But nobody believed you. And you were beaten. And you held on to that. Anytime you remember it today, even after 40 years, you still have a headache. You need to be open to healing. You need to be open to healing. I don't want to beat them because my daddy beat me. But I don't just know. After I just hit my child and I realize I'm doing the same thing, please be open to healing. And sometimes when you talk about healing, it might not be a process that you can do alone. You need a specialist. You might need a therapist. You might need a counselor. It can look small. That is not trauma. It's just because I remember, it's just the remembrance and it just give me a headache. No, you need healing. Be open to healing. You have to address the unresolved childhood wounds through therapy. See, counseling, you have to address it. When you go through therapy phase, you realize how much burden is lifted. You realize there is even more that you cannot even, you are not even confident enough. You can't face the truth to even say it to yourself alone. You're just bottling it up. And if you don't release that, you're going to damage your children. So for the sake of this growing glory, I'm begging tonight, if you are in that state that you know that you actually need healing, please be open to healing. Not because of you, but for the future and the betterment of these children that I call growing glory. I said a lot in my book that is coming. Hopefully by next week I'll be able to share the book with us here. Selfish Parent. And I'll be sharing some of these past chapters. I will try as much as possible to teach through the book, because it's a must read for every parent and intentional parent. It's a manual and a guide that is going to guide you through this journey. You have to be open to healing. I think I want to call it a day. Yes, I want to call it a day. And I think the strategies, if you go through what I've said so far, you can even share this with somebody. You can teach somebody with this. It might not necessarily be for you tonight, but there's definitely somebody that needs to hear this. It's not just beating. It's not just this. It's beyond saying they are just, but they are affecting you and it's damaging your children. Please fix it. Another very important thing that I have to say before I go, now that you are ready to be open to healing, can you please forgive your parent? Genuinely. I know you're there, that's gone, but anytime you still remember it, you just feel like, I'm not going to give them money. You wanted to send money before. You just don't know why. I'm not going to send that money today. Because within, the trigger is still there, but you cannot identify it. You don't know why you are dragging. You said you want to send money, but 5 days later, you have not, you don't just have strength to go send that money. Or to just, you don't have strength to pick your phone and do the transfer. Please, can you forgive from the depth of your heart? It's going to help you as a person. Please forgive your parent. It's very important. Forgive their mistakes. While you are, just forgive their mistakes. It's okay to acknowledge their limitations. They didn't know better. Trust me. Whatever they did was what they were taught was right. It wasn't, we can't say it's their fault. How can you give what you don't have? So just forgive. Acknowledge it so that you don't do the same thing, but forgive. It's very important. Another thing you have to do quickly, I'm just going to run through the points. Build a very strong communication skill with yourself, with your children. You get feedback. Already talk about feedback. And I'm just going to start on that note today. Let me see if anybody has questions so far. Sincerely, if you can go through the steps that I've shared, it's going to help you, anyone, to bridge through the phase of repeating our parenting error. It's gonna help to bridge it. All right, who is there with me today? Do I have any question? I'll just quickly check. Time is up. We don't want to keep ourselves waiting. Let me see who is on Facebook with me. I have Sister Wumi today. Sister Wumi Tola, thank you for joining me today. I see you there if you are still there. Thank you for watching all the way from Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you so much. Ba JJJ, thank you for joining me, sir. I celebrate you. Delawo, engineer, thank you for joining me all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you for joining me today. And okay, and if you have not dropped a comment, it's going to be very tough for me to see you except to say I or you say something. Thank you so much, my king. Lovely teaching, love. Thank you. I love you. All right. So I've been talking about strategies for you to have an effective or successful parenting in order not to repeat your parenting error. and parenting error in their parenting styles. So I've been sharing strategies on how you can scale through this phase. Some of these things sound like, I'm okay, until you sit down to actually check yourself. Until you sit down, before you know that, what is actually affecting you is just that candy that one person just took from you. Maybe one auntie gave you candy and you went home with joy because you actually want to eat that cookie, and your parents said you can't have it. And because you cried, I really want to have it, and they just slap you, and these things can be something very little that is giving trauma. Sometimes it's not something that we even picture. So take your time to sit down, have a reflection, so that you can actually know what you need and why you might be misbehaving, or why you might be repeating the things that I said I'm not going to do, but you find yourself doing it over and over again. I'm going to say thank you for joining me today. Auntie T, I see you there. Just joining me the timing. Oh, Auntie T. All right, I've been talking about how we are not going to repeat our parenting styles errors, the errors they did. How we are not going to repeat the same thing in our parenting. Many people will always say, I'm not going to do this, but they find that they will always realize, oh, this is the last time, but they're doing it again and again. So I shared strategies, and I'm sure you can catch up after the live broadcast. Thank you for joining me. I'm happy to see you, Auntie T. All right, I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining me today. It's a beautiful Saturday evening, night, afternoon, wherever you might be joining me from. And this is called the Parenting Essentials, in case you're not aware. And have you heard? Selfish parent is coming. Ad copy is coming. Everything is coming. It's going to be on Amazon. And I'll be sharing some of this in Teaching in Parenting Essentials. Triangle, it is a boo-boo. Please, you can grab your copy as soon as possible. That is going to help your toddlers to learn safety and colors. And I'm so excited. Reading it, I just always like, oh, this is nice. All right. Okay, thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Till I come your way again. As we go, don't forget that parenting must be intentional, must be purposeful, must be full of vision. What vision do you carry? What sort of parenting style are you having? What error have you taken subconsciously from your parenting styles that you're struggling with? Don't forget the steps I've shared. Don't forget the strategies. It is very important for you to identify it so that you can have a breakthrough regarding this. But when you're intentional and you're ready to face it, the result is guaranteed. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you see my face for the very first time today, my name is Oyelayo. Just like I used to say before, I am not Oyelayo. I am not Oye, whatever it is. Oyelayo. I am Oyelayo. But if you're struggling to call in this full name, just call me Oye for short. And I am your parenting coach and your family life strategist. Thank you for joining me. And until I come your way again, bye for now and stay blessed.